Good morning to everyone. And Maurice, thank you for that lovely introduction. And it's my honor to be back here again. So I don't know how many of you were here last year. It's a pleasure. And I really make the effort to come to VivaTech because I think this is a great chance for us to celebrate what is the promise of technology, that tomorrow's better than today, and more than anything, and we're going to spend time on this, that this be a really inclusive era, this digital era. Now, look, there have been lots of great strides made in technology due to almost everyone in this audience, but I feel strongly that it's just the beginning. So this first phase, you've seen lots of experimentation, you've seen lots of things going to the cloud, new applications built, but I really do think of this as chapter one of what's happened out here. Just chapter one, and it's a first step. So if it's a first step, that means we're standing at the beginning of a chapter two. And it's a chapter two that I believe can be far more transformative. So now there's some things that have to happen if we want to see this great promise of technology come alive. We talk a lot about digital and AI, but it's going to have to scale to everything you and I do in our companies, in our life. You see cloud. It's going to become a hybrid cloud. And not because of technology reasons, because if the world's going to change, mission-critical systems have to change, and that will drive. But we have to broaden that conversation to responsible stewardship. We do all this. What I think of chapter two, it is going to be way more transformative. It'll change the core of how everyone's company operates. It'll change how the world works, and I think it'll change the world itself. So just two quick examples of that. One is food safety. Everybody here eats. Well, and I might eat too much, but we all eat. Now, you don't believe it, but 600 million people a year fall ill because of food safety, as an example. And in fact, it's actually said that a third of the world's food is wasted. France, it's estimated that 30 kilograms is wasted per person, kilos, not kilograms, that'd be a little amount, kilos per person per year. So IBM, with 80 other companies, including Carrefour, Nestle, Unilever, Walmart, and others, have been working together on something called the Food Trust. And this is about tracing your food from farm to table. We're now tracing millions of products. It's a new era of safety and efficiency of an entire supply chain. That's a different world. As well, I go to another end of a spectrum. When I say changing the world, we're doing work to stop human trafficking. You may not even believe it in this day and age. 40 million people are still in human slavery. It is the third largest criminal industry that's out there. And we've been working with a small company, Stop the Traffic, in the UK. Now think of what they're doing. It's an international data hub. It's law enforcement, financial services, NGOs, and think about how secure that data has to be, or else what it means for the people involved. That's on the IBM cloud with our artificial intelligence, and it's to spot really think of it as the hot spots, the trends, the actual transactions to try to stop them. So this, to me, is a great example of inspiring tech for good, which is why I see this chapter two to be far more transformative and more ambitious for business and society. So as I kick this off, though, what I want to do is say, if we believe in that great promise, and I do, it's why there's this great conference, if we believe in it, there's a couple things that have to happen. Think of them as critical success factors for that to happen. And so let me, three of them, really fast move through them. And this pertains whether for those of you in the audience, if you're a startup, if you're a big company, if you're a company that's been around 100 years, to fulfill this moment, it's three things I think you have to do. The first, I said it earlier, you're going to scale digital and AI. All of us here agree data is the basis of our competitive advantage. I think it's true if you were born digital or if you're an incumbent. Now, I can't tell you there have been so many new apps deployed around the world, but there's also been lots of experiments. And so many clients say to me, I have random acts of digital, but nothing has scaled. And this is not going to let up because there's more, whether it's 5G, IoT, whether it's quantum, this will keep going, blockchain. So what does it take to actually scale? I leave you 3 quick sort of lessons learned about how to scale to make the promise of this technology come true. One has to do with how you think about your business. It's the approach. So far, most businesses have been transformed outside in, meaning you've been driven by the market, you added new things. So outside in, particularly new services, fantastic. But what happens when all those new services come in the business, it starts to run into the way the old systems work. And you kind of stop at how meaningful the change could be. So the lesson learned, you have to go inside out at the same time. That is a world that means you've got to modernize all the systems you have already. That's what's going to happen in Chapter 2 to make everything we do more flexible. So that's point 1. Point 2, lesson learned, everybody talks about tech platforms. Think about a business platform, because a tech platform's not enough. Every one of us has to have a business platform. It'll be fueled by data, it'll drive a workflow, and you'll put AI through it, and if you look at it, it will be distinctively who you are as a company. And then the third thing, you will never scale AI, and this is going to sound boring, without an information architecture. All of you, great invention, 80% of the time is spent getting data ready for artificial intelligence. So you need a platform, one that can manage the life cycle, prove to a regulator the answers are right, and prove there's no bias in it. And in fact, this is why we've developed things. Our Watson OpenScale takes anybody's AI, improves it's fair, non-biased, and manages it. It's why in our research and development, what you can look for, some of the new things in AI will be things like one-shot learning. Instead of having to train artificial intelligence with millions of records, if I run an insurance company and I see one roof with damage from a storm, I could learn what all the rest of them will look like. Or auto AI, meaning let your AI pick your AI. Pick it. That could make artificial intelligence 1,000 times more efficient. I use an example here in France, Crédit Mutuel. When I was here last year, I mentioned Crédit Mutuel. You have a great example of a company that took customer service, put artificial intelligence to it, almost 25,000 service people answer questions 60% faster. But they're a super example of they also went inside out. And because of that, they really got their data in shape, started to change how work is done. They're now taking AI across 100% of how the company operates, 100% reimagined. So that is a great example. Now, that means everybody becomes an AI and a digital company. So I leave you with those 3 lessons of think outside in, think business platform, and think no AI without IA, no artificial intelligence without an information architecture. Now, I also said, to kick this off on technology, underneath it, Chapter 2 says there's a different kind of cloud. It's the hybrid cloud. Now, I kind of want to spend 1 second. Think about what's happened, all of us in technology. Chapter 1, if I look at all of the work in the world, 20% of it has moved to a public cloud. New applications, customer-facing applications. In fact, most people would say it's additive to what they've done. Some shift of simple work, but mostly additive. Next chapter is 80% of the world's work, but now these are things that already exist, mission-critical work. That now starts to transform what goes out to the cloud. Because many of us, like a house, you have an existing estate. Now you have locations, security, compliance, and you already have a lot of other clouds already. So it's quite obvious to me that there's a wonderful market out here for everyone, and it's a necessity to have a hybrid cloud. You'll have traditional IT, private clouds, public clouds. In fact, we have studied this 10 ways to Sunday. I know Maurice made a comment about us acquiring Red Hat. I'll come back to that. It's sort of on average, the average company, 40% will be in a private cloud, 60% in public. If you're regulated, the other way around. You'll want them built on open source and open technologies so you could Build once, run anywhere. Secure and managed, same way across everything. That will be a world that the future is a hybrid cloud. It's multi-cloud, it's open, secure, and managed. And I really do feel we were one of the first to recognize this. It's why we are in 47 of the top 50 Fortune 50 companies with our hybrid cloud in the IBM cloud. So let me bring that to life. Hybrid cloud, why does that matter at VivaTech? To me, this is a spectrum of companies. On one hand, I'll give you an example, a company called SiteSpirit. They're a small company in the Netherlands. They do media libraries as a service. Great business. They are 100% public cloud. They run on the IBM cloud, costs reduced almost 100%, speed 10x. It's why you want cloud. They're born that way. I'll go to the other end of the spectrum, BNP Paribas, here. Jean-Laurent Bonnafé did an interview with Les Echos, and it was all about them moving the entire bank to a hybrid cloud, protecting customer information, protecting security, but giving them all those benefits at the same time. To then in the middle, I mean, here in France, you've got Vinci, a global construction company. As I drove by La Défense today, they have a unit called Sixth Sense. And what Sixth Sense has done, it's the construction, but it's pulling all the different subcontractors together. They've all got different systems, pulling them together with a hybrid cloud. So this is an era, Chapter 1, scale AI, Chapter 2, hybrid cloud. But the what you do may not be as interesting as the how. This is an era of co-creation. That means every one of you that are doing and building things, you think of yourself as a builder. It's business and IT together. It's design thinking and agile. And then something very different. It's lots of pilots, but they have to be done in a way that they immediately scale. And that's what most people forget. I think a great example you have is L'Oreal. The work we're doing with them on the Smarter Factory to personalize for 1 billion customers out there. And then all of this underpinned, as I said, this will be an open and a hybrid world, and that's our commitment to this. Everyone, developers here, so many at VivaTech, the standard for the future is things, for those of you not technical, let me stay technical for a minute, containers, Kubernetes, microservices. And this is why, when Maurice mentioned we're acquiring Red Hat, they are the world's leading open source cloud software company for the enterprise. And it's why companies like Michelin have chosen to work on the IBM cloud. So that's the technology future I see. Some great stories, but I want to end on a different point. This Chapter 2, trust gets redefined as responsible stewardship. I believe trust will be a precondition for tech to thrive, and it will be the differentiator of our time. So I remember when I was here last year, I took my time to talk about something called, and when I was here at VivaTech, it was IBM's Principles for Trust and Transparency. They've guided us for decades. We've written them down, held accountable to them. It's the purpose of technology. It is to augment man, not replace. The second principle is the data belongs to its owner, as do the insights belong to the owner. And the third is if you're going to build technology, you have to do it that it's open, transparent, explainable, and free of bias. So those are our principles. I say them over and over, so I said them last year, I'll say them again, invite you to join us. But this year, my time at VivaTech, I want to expand that conversation of what does it mean to have responsible stewardship. Because being trusted also means that you prepare society to live and to work with these technologies, that no one should be left behind, and that the many, not the few, can participate in this era. So it means, and this is where Tech for Good and VivaTech come right together. I believe we have to adopt some new paradigms in the way all of us think about people, skills, and hiring. One is that think about skills, not just degrees. And that's going to lead to some new models of education you're going to hear about. Think about different pathways to make a good living in the digital era. And a good living is new jobs. We call them new-collar jobs. The idea of not the stereotype of a white-collar office job or blue-collar factory job, new-collar. So I get to pause now, and I wanted to share the rest of my time with two different guests. And the first guest is someone I think almost needs no introduction. You know him here today, but his company, I believe, embodies what is chapter 2 of this era of innovation I just talked about. Done a great job scaling AI and digital, outside in, inside out. They've also done a great job building around the hybrid cloud for flexibility and speed, and underpinned with this responsible stewardship. In fact, in a moment, we'll make an announcement here together. And so let me introduce to you, for those of you that don't know him, is Stéphane Richard, who is the chairman and CEO of Orange. He's been leading and growing Orange for the past 8 years. You know, I hope, one of the largest mobile internet service providers between Europe, Africa, Middle East, 150,000 employees, 230 million customers, best mobile network voted in France the last 8 years, in a mission to make tech accessible to all. I would also tell you, and we'll talk about this, under Stéphane's leadership, he launched Orange Bank in 2017, first digital bank, completely 100% mobile, AI. We'll talk about it, and we've been proud to be his partner in that digital transformation. So please join me in welcoming, with me up here, is the Orange chairman and CEO, Stéphane Richard. Stéphane? You had me worried for a minute. I thought, uh-oh, there's no Stéphane, but I knew he was here. So welcome to VivaTech here with me, and thank you for sharing the stage with me. All right, so I said to Stéphane, whenever you do one of these interviews, and for the audience to get a lot out of it, everything has context to it. And so if you would spend a minute, everybody as a consumer knows you, but talk a bit about the market in the context to why you're changing. Because you're adding new businesses, and I'll let you, I won't answer for you, I'll let you answer from there. So, Stéphane, welcome.
Thank you, Ginni, and good morning, everyone. Well, Ginni, as you know, this telecom industry has been living through an incredible transformation journey for the last decades. Actually, if you remember that 20 years ago, there was no mobile phone.
Hard to believe,
nearly no internet. So transformation is, I would say, part of our history. And actually, I think the telecom industry has a great mission, has a great role in this new digital world, digital revolution, which is first to roll out the networks that we need. So it's about massive capex for fiber to the home.
Yes.
For 2, 3, 4, 5G now. It's a lot of technology. It's a lot of skills also. But we are doing this, of course, in the market, the telecom market, 750 telecom operators in the world, which is highly competitive, highly regulated, because in fact what we are providing has become so vital, so critical in the contemporary economies that, of course, we have to do this business with a lot of constraints and very little growth, actually. Because, in fact, what people expect from us is to provide the best possible services at the lowest possible prices. So the capacity for this industry to generate growth is limited.
Yes.
That is basically the reason why we have been exploring new territories. First, because I think that the fuel of a company is growth. And it's not growth just for financial, it's growth also to, well, offer to everyone, our employees, our stakeholders, our customers, new services, nice services, useful services, in a world where everything, thanks to digital and to digitization, is changing so fast. So, yes, I do think that the telecom industry has also a contribution to make to innovation, to new services, and a good example of this is mobile money. You know, this industry, the telecom industry, has been able to create a new use and a new service, mobile banking, mobile money, in Africa first, which has been really a breakthrough innovation in this continent. Today, we have twice more users of mobile banking than users of bank accounts in Africa.
You know, I've always felt about Africa, we've been invested there a very long time. Stéphane, I can always remember when I was taking up our investments, and I said to someone, am I early or am I late? And they said both. And I think it's very true about Africa, right? In that saying that necessity is the motherhood of invention. So when you said they were one of the leapfrogs, so I go back to now on mobile money, right? This is where a lot of it really was birthed quickly.
I definitely think that Africa is, in the world, maybe the continent who is going to be mostly impacted in a positive way by digitization and digital transformation. Today we are rolling out 4G everywhere in Africa. The smartphone penetration is reaching 50% in Africa. We are able to offer $20 smartphones in Africa.
They're going to want them here too, you know.
And this is going to change totally the situation. And once again, to get back to mobile money, of course, mobile money, we are very proud of that because it's really based on technology and assets, simple assets, actually, of the telecom industry that we've been able to offer this new service. And now we are entering into a new era where we are organizing interoperability of mobile banking systems within Africa. We have created a JV with MTN, our big colleague and competitor also in Africa, to create this platform of interoperability, meaning that a customer, an Orange customer, will be able to transfer money with an MTN customer everywhere in Africa. So this is a very good example of what the telecom industry can bring also to this digital society.
So Stéphane has done a great job of, you call it multi-services, right? That you are moving into different areas. I had mentioned Orange Bank, 100,000 or more customers maybe by now.
300,000.
300,000, okay, I'm out of date, 300,000. And so talk to the audience a little bit about, as I said, chapter 2 is about scaling AI. And to me, you're a great example of starting to take that through entire pieces of businesses. So talk about, and of course, we worked with Stéphane with our Watson AI too. So if you would give a little bit of a sort of how you're using it, what your learnings are.
AI, of course, for us, is going to be a major change, a major game, major opportunities also. And we are seeing AI developments mainly in two areas. The first is about improving our operational efficiency. A good example of this is predictive maintenance. As you know, we are operating networks. Networks are a very complex reality with billions of interactions, and the use of AI to improve the efficiency of network operations is going to be critical. And then the second area is about customer experience. I don't see personally AI as a substitute to human interaction in customer experience. I do believe in a future model where you will be able to combine actually AI and, of course, human interaction. If you take the example of Orange Bank, we are, as you know, very happy about the cooperation with IBM Watson to provide the customer service of Orange Bank, which is powered by Watson and based on AI, for over 80% of customer interactions today. In fact, basically, it gives a better service. A better service because first, it's a available service every day, 365 days a year, 24 hours.
Doesn't get tired, no.
Yeah. Doesn't get tired. We don't have the 35-hour
work week, no.
as a working, rule. So yes, a very good service, but in the same time, of course, we have also call centers and people that are able to answer to our customers when it is needed. So it's definitely a technology which, in my view, is very promising. And then what I like in AI, and this example of Orange Bank with Watson, is that it is a learning technology. I mean, it is a technology which is improving every day thanks to this permanent interaction with our customers. So I do think that we will have a major opportunities using and putting more and more AI-powered system like smart assistants also in our industry.
Yeah, you know, it's learning is the word, because and why I thought Stéphane would be a great guest to join me here. The two examples you gave, predictive maintenance and customer service, these are core of what companies do. This isn't about just adding a little sprinkling of dust of AI. This actually starts to change who you are, and as you said, because the technology learns, I would think it matters when you get started, just like when you're in school. If you started learning 3 years earlier, you're going to outstrip your competitors. So, I mean, this is where I think you've done a super job leading and getting ahead. Now, comments about the cloud, because I said Chapter 2 is going to scale AI, and Chapter 2, hybrid cloud, because you want to use data you have already and combine it with new things. So maybe a comment on the cloud.
Well, obviously, a cloud is now a cornerstone of the digital world. As far as Orange is concerned, we have two beliefs. The first is that we do believe in a hybrid multi-cloud. Yes. We think that we will have to use both private and public cloud for different purposes, different uses. So it will be, to some extent, a diverse environment with a number of players, but multi-cloud and hybrid cloud for us is the good strategy. And the second thing that we strongly believe in is partnership. Partnership between large players. You know, the digital world is made of competition, but a lot also of cooperation and partnership. And then among all those players, in my view, you will have big companies like IBM and Orange that will share the same vision, the same maybe strategy also, that will have very complementary assets, that will share the same values. And this is very important, as you know, Ginni. And so, yes, I think that in the cloud area, of course, we will offer a part of the value and the service, especially for enterprise customers. But we will have also to rely on strong partners like IBM to be really relevant in front of our customer needs.
So Stéphane said something that I want to end our interview with, and it's going to really tee up the rest of our time. You said values. You used the word values. So you and I have an announcement we're going to make in a second, but maybe share with the audience, because in many ways you're a tech company like all of us, and your view about corporate social responsibility. Not as an add-on, but as the core of what you do and the importance of it, you think, to every company.
Well, yes, definitely. I think that today the expectations of societies in front of big companies, large companies like IBM, Orange, are very high. And they are becoming very different from maybe what we have known in the past decades. Basically, people are not expecting only from us to offer good services at good value. They expect much more. And they expect that we imply very deeply also in this transformation, change in society, and to be able to provide to everyone, every employee, but every user also, a better range of actions to coach them into this new society, into this new world. And IBM and Orange share particularly a belief, which is that education, skilling, reskilling is at the core of everything. It's about skilling and reskilling our own workforce, but also contribute to improve the capacity of upskilling everyone. So education and I know, Ginni, that you are very much personally involved in education matters, is absolutely critical if once again, if we want to draw the maximum from technology, from digital revolution, if we want to reduce fears, because of course, as any big change, it generates fears. It's about training, explaining, skilling, reskilling, and so we have to invest a lot in this. We cannot rely only on public systems. Large corporations have a responsibility and a role to play, and that is the reason why we are part of this initiative, VivaTech, that is, well, just a piece of something, but in my view, very important to illustrate our, I think, mutual view on our roles.
Yes. So Stéphane and I, as I mentioned, we have a very, I think, important announcement. It's just the two of us are just two of the partners in this. There are many others as well, and it's part of what was part of Tech for Good. We'll talk about later. But together, working with the Ministry of Education here in France, we'll be launching, and it's a public-private partnership, which is what you said is so important, something called PTech. It was Pathway to Technology Early College High School is what it originally stood for. France will be the 14th country in the world that we'll be doing these in. And this takes a public high school, you would call it a lycée.
Lycée professionnel.
That's right, professionnel, plus BTS. So here it's a 5-year program in France. And what companies do is we give them relevant curriculum, mostly soft skills, because that's really what, it's not just the hard skills. Soft skills as well as mentorships and chances at jobs. And we go to the most underserved schools that you have. So we'll be starting with schools in Île-de-France and in Lille, 2 different places here. And Orange, IBM, BNP Paribas will be the first wave. Second wave, we'll be adding Sanofi, Salesforce. And I think yesterday we got agreement from Airbus, Thales, and a whole other group that's going to join us. And this is about giving in that belief that you don't have to have a university degree to participate in a really great job at this intersection of tech in this new world. And so you know there's 125,000 kids in the pipeline coming through this program. We've been at it, IBM has been sponsoring it 6 years now. And so, like I said, 14th country, and we see the results, and they are phenomenal. So we are really excited as part of Tech for Good. We've worked on this now for a year that we're launching in France, in the first schools we'll be joining. So I want to, and I have a special guest in a moment, one of the principals from the schools here. So I want to thank Stéphane for joining me. I want to thank you for joining us together in this crusade about getting the right skills and giving everyone a chance to participate in this digital future. And I want to thank you for being a great partner and sharing your story.
And we're very happy to join this initiative.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stéphane Richard. Now, one more I want to introduce you to, and this is really sort of a, let me come down here to greet him. I want you to be kind and gentle. First time he's ever spoke to a big group here. So when we talk about bringing to life what we just talked about, this PTech schools, preparing society to live and work in this era, I have with me Alexander Ziri. Now he is the deputy principal of one of the very first schools that PTech will be rolling out to. And so he's first time in a big group, so we're going to give him a really warm welcome. And Alexander's going to tell you a little bit about his story and the kids. So Alexander, come on out here. I think you got a standing ovation.
Yes,
Here, okay, I think so. So, Alexander, thank you for coming to VivaTech. I know this isn't your normal thing.
No, it's not.
It's not, right? You're normally at school right now with all the kids.
Yeah.
So, but as deputy principal, maybe say a little bit about your school and why you are so passionate about this program together.
As we arrived for 2 years now with the principal of our high school, actually we saw quite quickly that we really needed for our pupils and for the teachers as well to build new partnerships, new bridges between the public and the private, because the pupils we have in our school were in school failures for most of them. And as they arrived...
You call them school failures?
Yes, yes. And it's very complicated for them as they arrive. And we wanted to be as close as possible to these, the needs of the companies, actually. Because what we want is to make of these pupils the workers of tomorrow. And for that, we really need to know exactly what the companies are needing. Because we've got all this technological knowledge, actually. But this, everything, those hard skills are not enough anymore. It's not enough. They have to have these soft skills, the relational, human abilities they need to work in the companies of the future, to work together, to solve problems in an innovative way, to think different, actually. And I think maybe the most important ability for them is to be able to learn an autonomous way, you know? I mean, in this technological field, what's really important, it's moving so quickly,
yeah.
And they will have to update their knowledge, actually. What they are learning today is not what they will have to know in the future. So we really want them to be able to learn autonomous.
Yeah, you know, this is a really, I hope everyone, as you heard Alexander, this really key point that we can always teach hard skills. It's the soft skills of what to prepare to come into the workforce with. And then this propensity to learn, to want to learn. Alexander, I remember one of the very first schools 6 years ago, I had the President of the United States with me at the school. And as we were walking around, he said to me, well, but where's all the computer labs? And I said, sir, that's not what we're teaching them. We are teaching them how to work in this modern age. And that's what you just described, right? In a way that's what the kids are missing. Because when you said that these are kids that are, if I can call them kids, young adults, right? Yes. But describe these kids a little bit for the audience about when you say that they're a bit in despair, right? And that they think they don't fit in.
Yeah. It's complicated for them because they have been said for years that they are not good pupils, that they haven't got this social thing the others have, this feeling actually. And they have been said as well as that they haven't got good results enough to go to a regular school actually. So they are coming to our school with a very bad image of themselves. And with these prestigious companies like IBM, because it was the first company which made this project, and we have now 2 more companies like Orange and BNP, the bank, which are taking part in this project as well. And with these prestigious companies, we really want them to understand that they are able to do great things and that we do believe that they can success and be the workers of tomorrow. And a lot of them want to work in the computer industry. They want to be in this technological field, but everybody think actually that you need to be an engineer to work in this field, but it's not true anymore. Maybe it was the fact in the past, but today and tomorrow it's not the fact anymore. And we want to lead them to develop those skills that will give them the possibility to work and to success in their study and in their career.
Well, let me have everyone join me in thanking you, because you deserve a lot of credit for being willing to be a pioneer. We know this model works. It's working in 13 other countries. I know these kids are going to be a success here in France. And it's because of people like you, the educators and the teachers, that are willing to take a chance and bring them something new. So everyone, Alexandre and Zuri, thank you, my friend. You did a super job. Yes, super, see? Yeah. So I will, I hope you feel as proud as I do about not just the program, but about educators like Alexandre here. So I will just end, I'll recap. This is what I hope you just saw Chapter 2 come alive. A world where we scale AI and digital, hybrid cloud brings everything into the future, and that's responsible stewardship. And I'll end by saying, again, when I left here last year, I made some promises to France. And so I'll end on sort of my own report card on my promises. I said we were going to start P-Tech here in France, and thanks to my colleagues at Orange, BNP Paribas, and these willing schools, we're going to start it. We're also, I said we'd hire 1,800 people. We're 1,000 more in, so we're going to finish ahead and on time. I said we'd bring quantum computing to France. We've opened our 7th hub in the world in Montpellier here. And we've opened up and inaugurated Saclay. So it is a great pleasure. And I would like to just thank both my colleagues for joining me here. And I tell you, these announcements today, they're just a reminder that at the end, tech offers really wonderful tools, but it's the people who change the world here. And an event like VivaTech, you just see how many talented people there are. And so I'm optimistic that together, we're going to fulfill this promise of the moment. And so thank you for letting me start this Chapter 2 of VivaTech here with you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.